How's wedding planning? Is it fun?
So you asked.
Lauren Sanchez is done making plans because she's officially a married woman. The Emmy-winning journalist tied the knot with Amazon founder Jeff Bezos in a private ceremony in Italy.
I'm so excited to announce this. I never thought at 55 that, I'd be getting married.
Mega billionaires who casually decide to ride rockets into the atmosphere for fun, but the wild part is they actually own it. They embrace it like two eccentric cartoon characters from a comic book brought to life. Always moving in sync, blowing kisses like they've rehearsed it, waving like robots wearing matching outfits, and yet they seem madly in love. But let's talk about Lauren herself, because love her or not, you cannot deny this woman knows how to work a room, work a man, and work a legacy. Lauren Sanchez is not your average Hollywood face. She's a calculated chess player in a world full of checkers. She's mastered the art of leaning in just enough, leaning back when needed, and making even the most powerful men feel like they're the most important beings on earth. For a moment that matters, she's done it again and again and again, from TV host to Hollywood fixture. And now the wife of the richest man on earth, Lauren Sanchez, plays the game with a smile and a wink. And the evidence is everywhere, including a resurfaced clip of her interviewing Bill Clinton back in her Extra days. That's right, Extra, the celebrity gossip show we all watched when we were pretending we didn't care about Hollywood. She sat across from Bill Clinton, and the energy in that clip is electric. The way she leans forward, asks the perfect soft questions, the kind that flatter more than dig, and gives him those eyes, the ones every woman online is now talking about. How she did the subtle head tilt, the slow blink, the sparkle that somehow says, I see you and you matter. It's not about seduction, it's about strategy, about building a moment where the other person feels seen, validated, and important. And Lauren has this down to an art form. The comments are flooded with people saying the same thing. She knows exactly what she's doing. And you know what? They're not wrong. The truth is, this woman is not bumbling her way through power and prestige. She's driving full speed ahead with designer shades on and a GPS set to global influence. And look, let's not pretend Lauren Sanchez is some random woman who stumbled into a relationship with a tech titan. She's been hustling for decades, from local news rooms to national entertainment shows. She worked her way up, she built connections, she leveraged her assets and her ambition. And now she's a global name, walking red carpets, shutting down Italian cities for weddings, and carrying around handbags that cost more than most cars. And speaking of that handbag, the latest viral moment involves Lauren spotted at the ultra-exclusive Hotel du Cap Eden Rock in the south of France, wearing a jaw-dropping backless Roberto Cavalli gown with bold neon shades. And you guys, when I say bold, I mean blue, yellow, hot pink, the whole rainbow. Just walked off the runway and onto Lauren's shoulders. She paired it with Aquazzura stilettos and the tiniest Dior mini bag you've ever seen. And when I say tiny, I mean this thing could barely fit a lipstick and a hope. But don't be fooled, that bag is worth over $15,000 and has sold for six figures on the resale market. Why? Because fashion says the smaller the bag, the louder the status. And Lauren is practically screaming wealth and style, and the internet is losing it. Some people are calling it a tone-deaf display of capitalism in a struggling economy. Others are worshipping it as aspirational luxury. But here's the deal, Lauren Sanchez never claimed to be the voice of the people. She didn't marry Jeff Bezos to become America's sweetheart. She's not running for office or pretending to be anything she's not. She's just living loud, living large, and owning every ounce of it. And that's why she's fascinating, because she's not just the woman on Jeff Bezos's arm, she's the woman who made the richest man in the world fall in love and stay there. And people can say whatever they want about social climbing or strategic dating, but Jeff Bezos is not a clueless fool. If he's being used, he's choosing it willingly. And there's something powerful in that dynamic, because unlike the stereotypical billionaire rebound, where a guy goes after a barely legal influencer, Jeff Bezos chose Lauren, a woman in her 50s, a woman with kids, with a past, and with a reputation of her own. And together they shut down Venice for a wedding that could have fed a nation. And let me tell you something about that wedding. It wasn't just an event, it was a statement. They flew in designers, influencers, old Hollywood icons, and new money moguls. And you could practically hear the sound of champagne bottles popping over the Venetian rooftops. They took over the canals, turned cobblestone into a catwalk, and made it clear this wasn't just love, this was empire building. And yet, despite all that, the critics come out in full force, calling her a gold digger, a user, a puppet master of powerful men. But here's my question: even if all of that were true, does that make her wrong? Does that make her evil, or just ambitious in a world where ambition from men is celebrated, but in women is often condemned? Lauren Sanchez has flipped the script. She's not hiding her power, she's flaunting it. And maybe that's what makes people so uncomfortable, because she's not pretending to be humble. Or understated, she's showing up in full glam with her own jet, her own schedule, and her own media machine. And let's not forget she runs a successful aerial filming company, Black Ops Aviation, and has been a certified pilot for years. She's not just riding on Jeff's coattails, she's flying the damn plane. And that's what people don't talk about enough. Lauren Sanchez didn't just marry wealth, she worked for it, climbed to it, built it, surrounded herself with it, and yes, enhanced it. And when you look at her now, hosting charity galas, posing for Vogue, making headlines on every continent, she's not trying to convince you she's relatable, she's reminding you that she doesn't have to be. And maybe that's the boldest move of all. Because in a culture obsessed with fake humility, curated authenticity, and hashtag blessed captions, Lauren is just being Lauren, and people can't decide if they want to cancel her or copy her. And here's where it gets even more layered. People compare her to Meghan Markle, to Yoko Ono, to anyone who dared to fall in love with a powerful man and change the course of his life. But what they miss is that power dynamics in relationships are never one-sided. And these men, these billionaires and princes and moguls, they're not victims of some cunning spell. They're willing participants in a new chapter they chose. And if anything, Lauren Sanchez didn't take power from Jeff Bezos, she matched it and maybe even enhanced it. Because say what you will, their public image has never been more cohesive, never been more iconic. And whether it's the space rides, the charity galas, or the wild style choices, they are leaning into their legacy unapologetically. And here's a thought. Maybe we're all just watching to people live their truth while the rest of us argue about it online. And that's why I'm going to keep following this story, because Lauren Sanchez is not done. She's not fading, she's rising. And there are more twists to come, trust me, this is only part one. And the next chapter could take us deeper into her empire, her strategies, and the secrets behind how she became the woman who captivated the world's richest man. So let's pick up right where we left off. Because while everyone is busy pointing fingers and making memes, Lauren Sanchez is building something even bigger than a viral moment. She's building legacy, she's building momentum, and you can't build that without knowing how to command attention. And here's where it gets more fascinating. When we talk about Lauren Sanchez, we're not just talking about a woman on a yacht, we're talking about a woman who understands the architecture of influence. She doesn't just exist in rooms full of power players, she redesigns the rooms and moves the furniture and places herself where the camera will always catch the light just right. And that kind of mastery doesn't happen overnight, it's trained, it's earned, and it's deliberate. And one moment that proves just how calculated and charismatic she can be is that resurfaced interview with Bill Clinton back in 2010. And look, this wasn't some flirty nonsense, this was a tactical display of emotional intelligence. Because what Lauren Sanchez did in those few minutes was more than ask questions, she created connection. And if you slow the clip down, you'll see the precise way she leans in, not too eager but engaged, the way her voice softens at the right moment. Her smile fades when he gets serious, her eyes widen when he shares something vulnerable. And every single move is intentional, and this is not a diss, it's a compliment, because it shows a level of media training and psychological insight that most seasoned journalists don't even tap into. And it's not about being fake, it's about knowing how to create space for someone to feel seen and heard. And that's why powerful men don't just fall for Lauren Sanchez because of her looks, it's her presence, intelligence, and warmth that disarm people. From interviewing presidents to marrying one of the richest men in the world, she's mastered the art of making her partner feel like the center of the universe, whether genuine or performative. Her connection with Jeff Bezos looks seamless, they move in sync, smiling at galas and space launches like a polished power duo, a viral handbag moment captured. Her essence showing up at an elite French resort in a backless cavalli gown, flaunting a $15 or mini bag that can't even hold a phone. It wasn't just fashion, it was strategy. While critics called it tone deaf during tough times, Lauren never claimed to be relatable. She isn't here to blend in, she's here to ascend. And every time someone labels her a gold digger, she rises even higher. Jeff Bezos chose her not as arm candy, but as a partner post-divorce and reinvention. If she were only about looks, the world wouldn't still be obsessed with her. But people analyze everything: her wardrobe, walk, facial expressions. Because she's turned herself into a brand and sustained the buzz. That's real power. Then came the wedding, a full shutdown of Venice, cameras flashing, extravagance in full display. It wasn't pretending to be modest, it was spectacle with purpose. And Lauren gets that. She shaped media, now she's profiting from it. Her visibility is deliberate, her image engineered. Sometimes she's the glam goddess, other times a climate advocate. Every version serves a purpose. She doesn't shy away from the insults, she owns them. Social climber, opportunist? She walks into every space like she belongs. That's power. If you can't be shamed, you can't be controlled. And Lauren Sanchez is free in a way most people never will be. Her rise wasn't linear. She pivoted from journalist to helicopter pilot, to entrepreneur to first lady of one of the world's richest men. She doesn't hide behind false humility or fake backstory. She embraces the chaos and controls the narrative. Even the Venice wedding wasn't just a celebration, it was a moment in cultural history. From the dresses to the helicopters to the screams in the canals, Lauren was at the center. Calm and commanding. That psychological grip. You might not like her, but you're still watching, and now, even her body language is going viral. Analysts call it the Sanchez method, subtle gestures that hold attention, especially from powerful men. And whether it's real or not, one thing is clear: she's rewriting what power looks like for women over 50. Latina with a past and still ascending without apology. Society, and whether that's real or exaggerated doesn't even matter. What matters is the narrative is alive and she's letting it grow. And that's another tactic, the ability to let other people shape your story while still controlling the outcome, because Lauren Sanchez understands what many fail to realize: that silence can be louder than statements, that mystery invites obsession, and that strategic absence creates demand. And that's exactly what she's been doing, because between public appearances there are gaps. She disappears from the spotlight, recharges, reinvents, and then reappears with a new angle, new energy, new headline, and people can't help but follow, because they don't know what's next. And that uncertainty creates engagement, and engagement is power. And now we're seeing her take it even further into philanthropy and politics and media ownership. And if you think the wedding was the peak, you're wrong. It was just the introduction, and the real empire is being built behind the scenes with connections and contracts and investments, and speaking engagements and private summits and fashion lines, and possibly even production companies, because Lauren Sanchez is not done. She's expanding. And if you think this is about handbags and red carpets, you're missing the forest for the couture trees. This is about positioning herself as a permanent player in the circles that shape culture and economics and power and influence, and she's already halfway there. And the craziest part is she's doing it in plain sight, with paparazzi at every step and bloggers breaking down every outfit, and still no one can stop her. And that's not luck, that's leverage, and it's only going to intensify from here, because the next phase of her rise will be more quiet, more polished, more permanent. And people will still be talking about handbags and matching outfits while she's closing deals and shaping foundations and redefining who gets to be powerful in middle age and beyond. And when history looks back at this moment, it might not be remembered for the bag or the boat or the venue. It'll be remembered for the woman who used those symbols to rewrite her story in real time. And now, as we zoom out and really examine the full picture of Lauren Sanchez, it becomes clear that this isn't just some viral chapter in a celebrity gossip magazine. This is the long game. This is someone rewriting how women in their 50s are perceived in Hollywood, in boardrooms, and even in billionaire bedrooms, because for decades society told women, especially those over 40, that their spotlight dims with age, that their desirability fades, that their relevance expires. And yet Lauren Sanchez is proving the exact opposite. She's amplifying her presence, commanding more attention, building more connections, and generating more headlines than ever before. And it's not because she's chasing attention, it's because she understands that at a certain level visibility is currency, and she's cashing in and stacking it and reinvesting it at every turn. And part of that visibility is tied to her ability to remain unpredictable. She's never just one thing. One moment she's flying a helicopter over wildfire zones, the next she's sipping espresso in Paris with fashion royalty. Then she's hosting climate summits or boarding Jeff Bezos' private rocket, wearing a tailored flight suit that costs more than some people's yearly income. And that range is what keeps her interesting, because the moment you try to box her in, she shifts and shows you another angle, and just like that, the conversation starts all over again. And that is power, the power to control the narrative without ever saying a word, the power to draw attention even in silence, the power to be discussed, dissected, doubted, and still rise again and again and again. And people ask all the time, is this all strategy, or is this just who she is? And the answer is yes, because the best strategies are rooted in authenticity. And for Lauren Sanchez, that authenticity is her refusal to apologize for the way she lives, the way she loves, and the way she levels up in public. And let's not forget, this is a woman who comes from a background that wasn't silver spoon. This is someone who began in broadcast journalism in the trenches on local news before stepping into entertainment, then aviation, then business, and now the highest echelons of global power. And that journey is important because it wasn't handed to her. She earned it, one microphone, one air mile, one headline at a time. And yes, there were missteps and controversies and moments that had the internet speculating, but the truth is most people would have disappeared under that level of scrutiny. Most people would have folded under the rumors, the memes, the exposure. But Lauren didn't fold, she flexed, she upgraded. She kept moving forward while the rest of the world debated her past. She was building her future, and that's what separates her from the rest. It's not just ambition, it's resilience, the kind of resilience that makes you bulletproof to gossip and immune to the petty noise of public opinion. And right now, we're witnessing the evolution of a brand that doesn't need to shout to be heard. Because the visuals alone do all the talking. The jet, the dress, the hand on Jeff's shoulder, the glance at the camera, the disappearing act, the re-entry, the pattern repeats because the algorithm loves consistency, and Lauren Sanchez is an algorithm in heels. And what's fascinating is the way she's managed to stay polarizing without ever being political, without needing to make divisive statements or engage in controversy for clout. She simply exists in a way that challenges people's assumptions. And that's more powerful than outrage, because when someone can disrupt your idea of how success is supposed to look just by existing, that's influence. And for women especially, it's a masterclass in reclaiming narrative and presence. Because how many women are told to shrink, to soften, to make themselves less threatening? And here comes Lauren, unapologetic, with bold lip color, a tighter dress, a louder laugh, and no explanation. And it works because she's not asking for your approval. She's showing you what happens when a woman chooses herself, and when she does that over and over again, she doesn't just get richer or more famous. She gets remembered, she becomes mythic, she becomes part of cultural memory. And that's exactly what's happening, because every few weeks there's another trending moment. Another photo, another whisper, another theory, and instead of disappearing into Jeff Bezos' shadow, she's illuminating it, she's shaping it. She's walking beside him in perfect harmony, and yet still being entirely her own person. And that balance is rare in high-profile relationships, where usually one person eclipses the other, but here it's mutual, it's deliberate, it's synchronized. And that kind of partnership scares people because it's hard to categorize. It's not sugar baby, and it's not power couple in the traditional sense. It's something new, and it's evolving. And while others try to tear it down, Lauren continues to ascend quietly, boldly, and without flinching. And if you want to know how she's doing it, look no further than her most viral moments, because every time the internet thinks they've exposed her, she uses it as exposure. Every time people try to cancel her, she ends up trending, and every time someone doubts her, she ends up richer, more famous, and more fashionable than the last time. And that's not an accident. It's a blueprint, and the crazy part is most people still don't realize they're watching it happen in real time. They still think this is gossip and not a game of chess played with diamonds, jets, and viral headlines. And now, as we get closer to whatever her next big move is, one thing's clear: Lauren Sanchez isn't slowing down. She's speeding up, and we're all just trying to keep up. And now, as we round the final corner of this deep dive into the empire of Lauren Sanchez, what becomes strikingly clear is that everything about her is designed to last. She isn't here for the season. She's here for the era, and everything she touches transforms. Whether it's a relationship, a red carpet, or a headline, she has figured out the one thing most people spend their whole lives chasing: how to take control of her own story and make it profitable and unforgettable. And while the world continues to obsess over the surface, the dresses, the rings, the $15,000 handbags, the truth of her power lives just underneath, in the strategy, in the silence, in the way she moves from space to space without ever asking permission. And if you look closely, you'll see that every appearance is not just an appearance, it's a message. And whether you love her or judge her or refuse to admit that she's winning, she's already 3 steps ahead, because she's not trying to explain herself. She's showing you what life can look like when you stop performing for other people's expectations. And the most fascinating part is that we're still only seeing fragments: the photos, the curated clips, the interviews from years past. But behind all of that is a woman who has learned how to navigate the chaos and come out of it more powerful than when she entered. And maybe that's the lesson. Maybe Lauren Sanchez is reminding us that reinvention doesn't require apology, and that legacy is not built on perfection, but on presence and persistence. Because even when the whole world doubted her, when the stories broke, when the scandal headlines rolled out, when everyone expected her to vanish into the background, she doubled down, she showed up, she reinvented and redefined. And now she is not just the woman who married Jeff Bezos, she's the woman who stood beside him without blinking and said, "I belong here." And she meant it, and whether you agree or not, the record now reflects it. And as the cameras keep flashing and the headlines keep spinning and the commentary keeps coming, Lauren Sanchez keeps climbing, and the conversation keeps following her. Because what she represents is a shift, a new blueprint for power, visibility, and influence in an age where nothing is private and everything is dissected. And yet somehow she remains composed, calm, and to moves ahead. And maybe that's her greatest skill of all, knowing when to let them talk and knowing exactly what to make them talk about. And as the fashion world continues to track her outfits and tech blog follow her every joint appearance with Jeff, and legacy media tries to decode the body language, and even her most trivial movements spark think pieces. One thing is certain. She is no longer just part of the story. She is shaping the narrative and owning the results, and you might say she played the long game. But really she made the game longer because now everyone else is catching up to a playbook. She's already rewritten, and as we say goodbye for now, let's remember that Lauren Sanchez didn't just marry into a fortune. She branded herself into a legacy, and this story isn't over, it's just changing chapters. And we'll be watching closely not because we're obsessed, but because whether we admit it or not, we're all trying to understand what comes next for the woman who turned controversy into currency, speculation into strategy, and visibility into empire. So keep watching, keep questioning, keep debating, but know that behind every viral bag and every curated smile is a mind at work and a story still being written. This video covers legal allegations in a news context. All claims are from official filings and no guilt is implied until proven in court. Please keep all discussions respectful. Allegations are not facts until proven in court.